Tonight, you can finally rest. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. You've made it here, and that's enough. This is Rome at rest, a place where the world slows down and you can simply drift. Take a slow breath in and gently let it go. Again, breathing in and out. If your mind is still busy, that's okay. You don't need to quiet it. You don't need to change anything at all. Just let my voice carry you as we step softly into another time, another place. Tonight, we travel along a quiet road, just beyond the edge of ancient Rome, in the gentle rhythm of rain. The rain begins as you pass through the gate. It is not a heavy rain, not the kind that floods the streets and sends people running for shelter beneath the marble porticos of the Forum, not the kind that overwhelms the sewers and turns the alleyways into streams. No, this is a gentler rain, a softer rain, a rain that settles over the city like a long exhale, like the sky is breathing out after a warm day, releasing something it has been holding since morning. It is the kind of rain that turns the stone streets to mirrors, the kind that makes the torchlight shimmer and stretch across the wet ground in long, rippling reflections, the kind that carries the warm, earthy scent of wet terracotta from the rooftops above, and the green smell of rain on garden leaves, and the faint mineral tang of limestone washed clean. You breathe it in, slowly, deeply, and the air fills your lungs with something that feels like peace. You are seated in the back of a covered cart. It is a simple vehicle, a wooden frame on two large wheels, with a canvas covering stretched over hoop supports to create a kind of low, rounded shelter. The canvas has been pulled taut and fastened with leather straps, and it catches the rain with a soft, rhythmic drumming that fills the space around you like music. Each drop lands with a tiny, distinct tap, one after another, like 1,000 small fingers playing gently across the fabric above your head. There is no pattern to it, and yet somehow there is a rhythm you can feel in your chest, a rhythm your heartbeat is slowly beginning to match. The cart sways beneath you. You feel it in your body, a slow rocking motion as the wooden wheels turn over the broad stones of the Via Appia. The road is smooth here near the city. The great basalt slabs fit together so precisely, so carefully, that the cart barely jolts at all. It simply rocks, gently, back and forth, like a cradle, like a boat on a calm sea, like the slow swaying of a hammock strung between two trees on a summer afternoon. You let the motion move through you. You do not resist it. You let your body soften and sway with the cart, and the rocking becomes a kind of comfort, the oldest comfort, the comfort of being carried, of not needing to walk, of not needing to steer, of trusting that the road and the horse and the driver will take you where you need to go, and that all you need to do is rest. Behind you, the sounds of Rome are already growing softer. The distant murmur of voices from a tavern near the gate, laughter, the clink of cups, a snatch of song that rises and falls like a bird taking flight, the bark of a dog somewhere in a courtyard, the call of a bread seller closing up his stall for the night, his voice carrying through the rain like a melody he has sung 1,000 times, a temple bell ringing once, twice, the sound hanging in the damp air for a long moment before it fades, and then the city begins to let go of you. Or perhaps you begin to let go of the city. It is hard to tell which. The sounds grow softer, the buildings grow shorter, the light of the torches and lamps grows dimmer and more distant, until Rome is no more than a warm glow on the horizon behind you, fading slowly, like the last light of a sunset sinking below the edge of the world. You pull your woolen cloak a little tighter around your shoulders. It is thick and warm, a deep reddish brown the color of autumn leaves, and the wool has been oiled so that the rain beads up and rolls away like tiny pearls of glass. You can feel the warmth of your own body held inside it, reflected back to you, surrounding you. It is like being wrapped in your own warmth, like carrying a small personal fire wherever you go. The cart driver sits up ahead, hunched comfortably beneath his own hooded cloak. He does not speak. He does not need to. The horse knows this road. She has walked it 100 times before, in sunshine and in rain, in the heat of summer and the chill of winter, and her hooves keep a slow, steady rhythm on the wet stone. Clip, clop, clip, clop, a sound as soothing as a heartbeat, as regular as breathing, as old as the road itself. You are leaving Rome for the countryside. There is nothing urgent about this journey, no business to attend to, no deadline waiting at the other end, no letter to deliver, no appointment to keep, no obligation pulling you forward with its invisible thread. You are simply traveling, moving south along the most famous road in the world, the Regina Viarum, the Queen of Roads, built nearly 300 years ago by the censor Appius Claudius Caecus, who dreamed of a road so straight, so strong, so perfectly engineered that it would last forever. And it has lasted. It stretches before you now, wide and pale in the blue light of evening, cutting a straight line through the landscape as far as you can see. It will carry on for 360 miles, all the way to Brundisium at the heel of Italy, crossing mountains and valleys and rivers, passing through towns and cities and vast stretches of open country. But you will not travel that far tonight. Tonight, you need only go as far as the next inn, a small, warm place you have been told about, perhaps an hour's ride from the city walls. A place with a fire and a meal and a bed. For now, there is only the rain and the road and the gentle rocking of the cart and the soft, steady sound of hooves on stone. The city falls away behind you, like a dream you are gently waking from. First, the tall apartment blocks disappear, those towering insulae where thousands of Romans live stacked atop one another, 5 and 6 stories high, with laundry strung between the windows and the smell of cooking fires drifting down into the street. Then the last of the suburban villas, with their walled gardens and red-tiled roofs, slip past on either side of the road. Then the workshops and the storehouses and the small roadside shrines with their faded garlands of flowers. And then the countryside opens up around you like a held breath released, like a door opening onto a vast green room. Like the moment when you step out of a crowded market into an empty field, and suddenly there is space in every direction, and the world feels larger and quieter and infinitely more gentle. The Campagna stretches out in every direction now, wide, green and softly rolling, dotted with clusters of umbrella pines that stand in elegant, dark-topped groups against the sky, and the slender spires of cypress trees that rise like dark columns of smoke frozen in place. In the blue light of twilight, the grass looks almost silver. The fields are quiet. Here and there you can see a farmer's stone wall, built without mortar, each rock fitted carefully against its neighbour, or the low, dark shape of an olive grove, the trees standing in ordered rows, with their silvery leaves trembling in the rain, or a flock of sheep huddled together beneath a tree, their wool dark and heavy with moisture, their heads lowered, waiting out the rain with the infinite patience of animals who have known 1,000 rains and will know 1,000 more. The air is different out here, cooler, cleaner, wider. You breathe it in slowly through your nose, and it carries the scent of wet grass and wild rosemary and turned earth. The deep, dark, rich smell of soil that has been rained on after a long, dry spell. There is something else, too. The faint, sweet smell of fig trees somewhere nearby, their broad leaves catching the rain and holding it in small, cupped pools. You settle deeper into the straw that lines the bed of the cart. It is soft and dry and smells of summer, of hay cut in open fields, dried in the sun, bundled and stored in cool barns. It crackles very faintly as you shift your weight, a tiny, whispering sound that is almost lost beneath the rain. Someone has placed a folded blanket here too, rough woven but thick, and you spread it across your lap and feel its weight settle over your legs like a comforting hand, like someone has tucked you in, like someone has said without words, be warm, be comfortable, rest. The road beneath the cart is remarkable, even after centuries of use. You look down over the edge and watch the stones pass beneath you. Each one is a broad, flat slab of basalt, grey and smooth, some of them 4 or 5 feet across, fitted so tightly against their neighbours that you cannot fit a blade of straw between them. The surface is gently curved, higher in the center, sloping down on both sides. An engineering technique the Romans call an agger, designed so that the rainwater runs off into the ditches along the edge, rather than pooling on the road itself. Even now, with the rain falling steadily, the road is not flooded. The water shimmers in a thin, luminous sheet across the stones, and then drains away, and the cart moves on without difficulty. You watch the raindrops landing in the puddles between the stones. Each one creates a perfect circle of tiny ripples that expands outward and meets the ripples from the next drop, and the next, and the next, until the surface of every puddle is a living tapestry of overlapping rings. It is mesmerizing. It is the kind of thing you could watch for hours and never grow tired of, because it is always the same and always different, and there is something deeply calming about a thing that is both. On either side of the road, low stone walls run parallel, built from the same pale limestone as the milestones you pass every Roman mile. These walls mark the edge of the public way, the space that belongs to everyone, where any Roman citizen may travel freely, without fee or permission or question. Beyond the walls, the private land begins, farms and pastures and gardens, and the grand estates of the wealthy, their boundary lines invisible but understood. A milestone passes on your left. You catch a glimpse of the carved letters in the fading light, Roman numerals marking the distance from the golden milestone in the forum, the miliarium or reum, the gilded column from which all distances in the empire are measured. You are perhaps 4 miles from the city now, perhaps 5. The numbers are hard to read in this light, and it does not matter. The milestones will keep counting, but you have stopped counting with them. Distance is not something you are measuring tonight. Tonight you are measuring nothing. Tonight you are simply here, on this road, in this rain, in this gentle rocking cart, and that is the only thing that matters. A small bird darts across the road ahead of the cart, a flash of brown and cream against the blue dusk, too quick to identify, gone before you can turn your head to follow it. It disappears into the hedgerow on the far side, and you hear a brief rustle of leaves, and then silence. Somewhere in the fields, a nightjar begins its low, churring call, a sound like a spinning wheel, or a cat purring, or the hum of some small, invisible engine buried in the grass. It rises and falls in pitch, and then stops, and then begins again, and the rhythm of it blends with the rain and the hoofbeats and the creaking of the cart, until it all becomes one sound, the sound of the Roman countryside at dusk, in the rain, in the slow and gentle passage of evening into night. The tombs begin to appear along the roadside. This is one of the things that makes the Via Appia unlike any other road in the world. In Rome, by law and by ancient custom, the dead are not buried within the city walls. Instead, they are laid to rest along the great roads that lead out of the city, where travelers will see their monuments and read their inscriptions and remember their names. And so the Appian Way has become, over the centuries, a road of memory, a long, open-air gallery of stone markers and carved monuments and grand mausoleums, stretching for miles into the countryside, each one a quiet declaration. I was here. I lived. Remember me. You pass them slowly, one by one, as the cart rolls on through the rain. Some are small and modest, simple stone pillars with a name and a few words carved in neat Latin letters. Marcus Aurelius Primus, soldier of the 10th Legion, who served 20 years and was granted his discharge with honor. Claudia Fortunata, freedwoman, who ran a bakery near the Tiber and was beloved by her husband and her friends. Gaius Valerius Felix, who lived only 7 years, and whose parents placed this stone so that his name might endure a little longer than his small, bright life. Their names are softened by weather and time, the letters filled with moss and lichen, but they are still here, still legible, still speaking quietly to anyone who passes, still saying, I was real, I mattered, do not forget. Others are grander, more elaborate. One tomb you pass is a tall cylinder of marble, perhaps 30 feet high, topped with a conical roof of stone that comes to a sharp point. It is decorated with garlands carved in relief, swags of flowers and fruit and ribbons of stone that look so real, you almost expect them to sway in the breeze. Another is a broad rectangular structure with a carved frieze showing a procession of toga-clad figures, their faces worn smooth by rain and wind, their names lost, their story surviving only in the stone. The rain runs down the marble faces in thin, shining streams, as though the stone itself is weeping softly, not from grief, from gentleness, from the slow, patient tenderness of time, which touches everything and wears everything down, but does so with such care, such incredible slowness, that it is not destruction but transformation. The sharp edges become soft, the hard lines become curves, and the names that were once shouted in marketplaces and whispered in bedrooms become quiet, mossy inscriptions on the side of a road, speaking to no one in particular and to everyone at once. And between the tombs, the cypress trees. They rise on both sides of the road like dark, quiet sentinels, tall and slender and perfectly still, their narrow forms tapering to points that seem to touch the low clouds. The Romans plant them near places of burial because they are evergreen, because they do not change with the seasons, because they endure. In winter, when the oaks are bare and the fields are brown, the cypress remains the same, dark, upright, patient, unchanged. It is a tree that has made its peace with time, a tree that does not hurry, a tree that simply stands and waits and watches. And in the blue light of this rainy evening, the cypress trees look almost like columns of shadow, like the pillars of some vast, open temple built by the landscape itself. The scent of cypress is in the air. You breathe it in, and it fills your head with a fragrance that is sharp and clean and resinous, like fresh cut wood, like the inside of a carpenter's workshop, like the pages of a new book. It mixes with the rain and the wet earth and the faint sweetness of the wild herbs that grow along the roadside to create a perfume that is uniquely this place, this road, this moment. You will remember this smell long after you have forgotten the details of the journey. It is the smell of the Appian Way in the rain. It is the smell of Italy. It is the smell of evening falling softly on the ancient world.
The cart driver lights a small oil lamp and hangs it from a hook at the front of the cart. The flame catches immediately, fed by the olive oil in the clay reservoir, and it steadies into a warm, golden glow that swings gently with the motion of the road. The light catches the rain as it falls, each drop flashing gold for an instant before vanishing. And the world is divided into two kinds of light, the cool, deep blue of the sky and the warm, living gold of the flame, meeting and mingling on the surface of the road like two rivers flowing into one. You watch this play of light for a while. It is mesmerizing. The rain falling through the lamplight looks like sparks falling upward from a fire, or like tiny golden stars descending from the clouds, or like the first snowflakes of winter, catching the last light of the sun as they drift down through the cold air. You do not need to think about what it means. You do not need to find a metaphor. You only need to watch, to be here, to let the light and the rain and the motion of the cart wash over you like water over stone. A soft sound reaches your ears from somewhere off the road. You turn your head and listen. It is water, a stream perhaps, or a drainage channel running alongside the road, swollen with rain. The sound is low and musical, like a whispered conversation in a language you almost understand, like someone humming a melody just below the threshold of recognition. It rises and falls with the terrain, growing louder as you approach, and then fading again as the cart moves on. There are other sounds too, if you listen for them. The soft rustle of wind through the cypress branches, a sound like silk being drawn slowly across silk. The distant bleating of a goat somewhere across the fields, lonely and small. The occasional call of a night bird, a brief fluting sound that comes and goes like a thought you cannot quite hold on to, like a word on the tip of your tongue, like the fragment of a dream that slips away the moment you try to look at it directly. But over it all, always, always, is the rain. The steady, gentle, patient rain. It has been falling for hours now, and it shows no sign of stopping. It has become the background of everything, the canvas on which all other sounds are painted, and there is something deeply comforting about that, something reassuring about a rain that does not rush, that does not rage, that simply is. It falls, because it falls. It continues because it continues. It does not need a reason. It does not need an ending. It is as natural as breathing, and as constant and as kind. The road curves very gently now, following the contour of a low hill, and as it curves, the view opens up on your right, a wide valley stretching away into the blue distance, its floor patched with olive groves and vineyards, the far hills no more than soft grey shapes behind the curtain of rain. A river must run through the bottom of the valley, though you cannot see it. You can only see the line of trees that marks its course, their branches heavy and dark, following the water's invisible path through the land. And on the hillside above you, to the left, you catch a glimpse of something through the rain. A building perched on the slope, surrounded by a low stone wall and a garden of carefully tended plants. A villa, and there is a light in one of the windows. The light is a warm, steady amber. The kind of light that comes from an oil lamp set on a table, or a candle placed in a window to guide someone home. It is not a bright light. It does not compete with the darkness. It simply exists within it, small and warm and persistent, like a heartbeat, like a promise. You imagine the people inside, perhaps a family, gathered around a low table for their evening meal, the Sina sharing bread and olives and a simple fish stew while the rain taps against the shutters. Perhaps a mother reading to her children from a scroll of Aesop's fables, her voice low and musical, the children's eyes growing heavy with the familiar stories. Perhaps a man sitting alone at his desk, writing a letter to a friend in Rome, dipping his reed pen into the inkwell, and pausing now and then to listen to the rain and to think about what he wants to say. Perhaps they too are listening to the rain. Perhaps they too are finding comfort in it. Perhaps everyone in Italy is listening to the rain tonight, each one warm and sheltered in their own small circle of light. And there is something beautiful about that thought, a whole country, quiet and still, wrapped in rain and firelight, breathing together. The Roman countryside is dotted with villas like this one. Some are grand estates belonging to senators and wealthy merchants, sprawling complexes of marble and mosaic, with private bathhouses and libraries and gardens that rival the public parks of Rome. Their owners come out from the city in the summer months to escape the heat and the noise and the crowds, and they bring their servants and their friends, and they host long, leisurely dinner parties that stretch from afternoon into evening, with poetry readings and music and conversation that wanders from philosophy to politics to gossip and back again. But most villas are simpler than that. Most are working farms, where families grow olives and grapes and wheat, where chickens scratch in the yard and dogs sleep by the kitchen fire, and the seasons dictate the rhythm of every day. They are places of honest labour and quiet evenings, and the slow, steady turning of the year. You wonder, briefly and idly, what it would be like to live in such a place. To wake each morning to the sound of birdsong instead of the clamour of the city. To step outside and feel the dewy grass beneath your bare feet and smell the blossoms of the lemon trees, and watch the sun come up over the hills like a golden coin being slowly placed on a blue cloth. To know the name of every tree in your garden, every stone in your wall. To measure the passing of time not by the water clock in the forum, but by the ripening of the figs and the blooming of the roses, and the length of the shadows on the ground. Perhaps someday, but not tonight. Tonight you are a traveller on the road, and the road is carrying you gently forward, and you are content to let it carry you. There is a particular freedom in being between places. You have left one home behind, and not yet arrived at another. You are suspended in the in-between, in the gentle, undemanding space of the journey itself. And in that space there is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to decide, nothing you need to be. You can simply exist, simply breathe, simply watch the rain and listen to the horse's hooves and feel the rocking of the cart. The road passes through a grove of olive trees now. They are old trees, very old, with thick, twisted trunks that look like they have been slowly turning in their sleep for centuries. Their bark is deeply furrowed and grey, and in the places where branches have been cut away long ago, the wood has healed into smooth, rounded knots that look like closed eyes. Their branches reach out over the road from both sides, and for a little while you are travelling beneath a kind of natural canopy. The rain falling on the leaves above, and then dripping down in heavy, scattered drops. The air beneath the olive trees is heavier, richer, greener. It smells of olives, that distinctive, faintly bitter green scent that is the smell of the Mediterranean itself. But there is something else too, the smell of bark and moss and the particular dampness of a sheltered place. A place where the rain is softer, a place where even the light seems to slow down and linger. A droplet of water falls from a branch and lands on the back of your hand. It is cool and clean and perfectly round, and you do not wipe it away. You simply feel it there, the tiny weight of it, the small bright coldness on your skin. And then it rolls slowly off, tracing a line across your knuckles, and another takes its place, and you smile to yourself in the darkness. The simplest things are often the most beautiful. A single raindrop on the back of your hand on a quiet road, in the evening in Italy, is one of the most beautiful things in the world. Long pause. The olive grove ends, and the road is open to the sky again. The rain has softened even further now. It is barely more than a mist, a fine, cool veil that settles on your face when you lean out from under the canvas and taste of clouds and clean air and the distant, salt-tinged breath of the Tyrrhenian Sea. The horse shakes her mane, sending a spray of tiny droplets into the lamplight. The cart driver pulls his cloak a little tighter and gives a quiet click of his tongue, not to hurry the horse, but just to let her know he is there. She flicks one ear back in acknowledgement and continues her steady, patient walk. You're getting closer to the inn now. You can feel it, a subtle change in the air, a thickening of the night sounds, a warmth in the darkness ahead that is not quite visible yet, but is somehow already real. Perhaps it is only your imagination, or perhaps you can smell the wood smoke before you can see the fire. And there it is. The inn appears around a gentle bend in the road, and the sight of it fills you with a warmth that starts somewhere deep in your chest and spreads outward through your whole body like the first sip of hot wine on a cold night. It is a small building, 2 stories, built of local stone, the colour of pale honey, with a roof of red clay tiles that glisten in the rain like polished copper. Warm light pours from the doorway and the 2 front windows, spilling out onto the wet road in wide, golden pools that the rain turns to shimmering liquid amber. A thin trail of smoke rises from the chimney, carrying the unmistakable scent of burning oak and something else. Something rich and savoury. Something being slow cooked over a fire. And the smell alone is enough to make your whole body lean forward with anticipation. Pause. Above the door, a wooden sign hangs from an iron bracket, painted with a simple image, a wheel perhaps, or a bunch of grapes, the kind of sign that roadside inns have used for centuries to tell travellers. Here is rest, here is food, here is shelter from the rain and the dark. Come in. The cart driver brings the horse to a stop, and for a moment the sudden stillness feels almost startling after so long in motion. The world was moving, and now it has paused, and in the pause there is a kind of reverent quiet, as though the night itself is holding its breath. The rain continues to fall, of course. It patters on the roof of the inn, on the canvas of the cart, on the broad leaves of a fig tree that grows beside the front door, its branches heavy with unripe fruit. But the rhythm of the road has stopped, and in its place there is a different kind of quiet. The quiet of arrival, the quiet of a journey's gentle end. Pause. You step down from the cart. The stones are wet beneath your sandals, and you can feel the coolness of the rain on your face and hands, the night air touching your skin with its soft, damp fingers, but it only makes the warmth of the inn seem more inviting. The doorway is right there, just a few steps away, and the light that comes from inside is the colour of honey, the colour of amber, the colour of everything good and warm and safe in the world. You step inside, and the warmth wraps around you like an embrace. Pause. It is not just the heat of the fire, though the fire is magnificent. It is the whole room, the whole atmosphere. The way the amber light from the oil lamps fills every corner and softens every edge. The way the low wooden ceiling makes the space feel close and sheltering, like a den, like a cave, like the safest place in the world. The way the dried herbs hanging from the beams, rosemary and thyme and oregano and bay leaves, fill the air with their fragrance, mingling with the wood smoke and the smell of cooking food and the warm, yeasty scent of fresh bread, to create something that speaks directly to a deep, old part of your brain. The part that understands warmth and shelter and nourishment without needing any words at all. The part that recognizes home, even in a place you have never been before. The fireplace is built of stacked stone, wide and deep and generous, and the fire burning inside it is a living thing, orange and gold and deep glowing red, with flames that leap and dance and curl around the logs like playful fingers. You can hear it talking to itself. The soft pop and crackle of the wood, the occasional hiss of sap turning to steam, the deep steady roar of the draft pulling air through the coals. And you can feel the heat of it on your face from across the room, a wave of warmth that reaches out to you the moment you step inside, like a hand extended in welcome. The innkeeper sees you and smiles. He is a broad man with thick arms and a round, pleasant face, and he wears a simple linen tunic with an apron that has seen many years of good, honest use. His hands are large and rough and clean, the hands of someone who works with them every day, who kneads bread and carries firewood and wipes down tables and pours wine and does all the 100 small tasks that make a roadside inn a place of comfort for strangers. He gestures you toward a table near the fire, the best table in the house, and you sit down on the wooden bench, and for the first time in hours, you are completely still. Pause. You loosen your cloak. Let it fall open around your shoulders. The fire's warmth finds the damp fabric and begins to draw the moisture out, and you can see tiny wisps of steam rising from the wool, curling upward like smoke, like ghosts, like small, soft spirits of the road, releasing themselves into the air. Your muscles begin to soften. Your shoulders, which you did not realize were tense, slowly drop. Your jaw unclenches. Your hands, which have been curled inside the warmth of your cloak, unfold and rest on the table. Palms down, fingers spread. You take a deep breath. Hold it for a moment. Feel it fill your chest, your belly, your whole body, and then you let it out in a long, slow exhale that seems to release everything you have been carrying. Not just the cold of the rain and the stiffness of the journey, but something deeper, something you didn't know was there until you let it go. Long pause. The bench is solid beneath you, the fire is warm in front of you, the rain is falling softly outside, and you are here, safe, warm, arrived. There is nowhere else you need to be. The innkeeper brings you food. He sets the dishes on the table one at a time, each one landing with a gentle, solid sound on the dark wood, like small gifts being placed before you. First, a ceramic bowl of stew, thick and steaming, made from lentils and root vegetables and small pieces of salted pork, slow cooked over the fire for hours until everything has melted together into a rich, earthy warmth. The smell alone is enough to make you close your eyes and sigh. It smells of home. It smells of winter evenings and kitchen fires and the kind of food that fills not just your stomach, but something deeper and older and harder to name. Pause. Next, a round of bread. It is freshly baked with a dark, crackle crust that gives way to a soft, pale interior when you tear it apart. There are seeds baked into the top, fennel perhaps, or cumin, and when you break the bread open, the fragrance rises like a small, warm cloud. It is the smell of wheat and fire and patience, the patience of a baker who has kneaded this dough and shaped it and waited for it to rise, and then baked it slowly, knowing that the waiting is part of the gift. A dish of olives, dark and glossy, glistening with oil and flecked with tiny pieces of garlic and dried herbs. A wedge of white cheese, crumbly and mild, with a faint tang of sheep's milk, and a cup of wine, dark red, warmed with spices and a touch of honey. The Romans call it conditum, this spiced wine, and when you take the first sip, the warmth of it spreads through your chest and stomach like a second fire, gentler and more golden than the one in the hearth. You can taste the cinnamon, a hint of pepper, the sweetness of the honey and the tartness of the grape. They mingle on your tongue, and the warmth travels down your throat, down into your center, and radiates outward, and for a moment you feel as though you are glowing from the inside. Pause. You eat slowly. There is no reason to rush. You dip the bread into the stew and let it soak up the broth, and when you lift it to your mouth, the bread is heavy and warm and dripping. You place an olive on your tongue and taste the salt and the brine and the faint bitterness of the fruit, and the oil coats your lips and you lick them clean. You crumble a piece of cheese between your fingers and let it dissolve on your tongue, mild and creamy and good. Each bite, each sip, is a small act of kindness toward yourself, a reminder that the body deserves to be nourished and that there is a deep and ancient pleasure in sitting by a fire on a rainy night, far from the noise and the worry of the city, and eating simple food prepared with care by hands that know what they are doing. The fire crackles softly. A log shifts and settles, sending a spray of orange sparks upward into the dark throat of the chimney. They spiral and dance for a moment, bright as fireflies, and then wink out one by one. The flames sway and pulse, and you watch them with half-closed eyes, tracing the shapes they make. Castles and rivers and faces that appear for an instant and then dissolve back into the light. A tower, a wave, a bird in flight, gone before you can be sure you really saw them. Cup of wine is nearly done, just a warm spiced pool at the bottom that you tip back and let linger on your tongue. And the fire continues to burn steady and warm, asking nothing of you, giving everything. The room around you has settled into a deep, drowsy quiet. Somewhere behind you, the innkeeper is washing pottery in a basin. You can hear the soft clink of ceramic against ceramic, the gentle splash of water. These are the sounds of the world going on without needing you, the sounds of someone else taking care of things, and there is a profound comfort in that, in being allowed to simply sit and rest and let someone else do the work of keeping the world turning. Pause. And the rain, always the rain, you can hear it through the walls, muffled now, distant, like the sound of a river flowing somewhere far away, like the memory of rain. And the rain, always the rain, you can hear it through the walls, muffled now, distant, like the sound of a river flowing somewhere far away, like the memory of rain rather than the rain itself. It is a beautiful sound when you are inside and warm. It says you are sheltered, you are safe. The world outside is wet and cold and dark, but you are here in this golden circle of firelight, and nothing can touch you. Nothing needs to touch you. Nothing will disturb this warmth. The innkeeper appears beside your table. He moves quietly, as though he understands that the silence in this room is something precious, something fragile, something that should not be broken with unnecessary words. He simply raises his eyebrows in a question, and you nod. Yes, you are ready. He takes a small oil lamp from the shelf behind the counter and lights it from the fire. The flame catches and steadies, casting a small warm circle of light. He gestures toward the wooden stairs at the back of the room, and you rise from the bench, gathering your cloak over your arm. Your body feels warm and heavy and good, like a stone that has been sitting in the sun all afternoon. The stairs creak softly beneath your feet as you climb. Each step is a gentle sound, a quiet announcement of your presence, and the wooden banister is smooth beneath your hand, worn to a soft polish by years of travellers climbing these same stairs, in this same inn, on countless rainy nights like this one. You wonder about them, all those travellers who have passed this way before you, merchants and soldiers and poets and farmers, each one carrying their own story, their own weariness, their own gratitude for a warm bed at the end of a long road. They are all gone now, but the stairs remember, the banister remembers, the wood holds the warmth of every hand that has ever touched it. Your room is at the top of the stairs. The innkeeper opens the door and sets the oil lamp on a small table beside the bed, and the room fills with a warm amber glow that softens every edge and corner. It is like stepping into a painting of the quietest, most peaceful room in the world. It is a simple room, a bed, a table, a wooden stool, a set of shutters on the window, one of which is slightly open, letting in a thin stream of cool night air that carries the sound of the rain. That is all, and it is everything you need, more than you need. Because tonight, you do not need much. Tonight, you only need a place to lie down, and a blanket to cover you, and the sound of the rain to sing you to sleep. The bed is inviting, the mattress is thick, stuffed with clean straw, and covered with a smooth linen sheet that smells of lavender. The innkeeper's wife must tuck sprigs of it between the linens, as many Roman households do, for the scent and for the peaceful dreams it brings. The Romans believe that lavender calms the mind and soothes the nerves and invites restful sleep, and as you breathe in the soft purple fragrance, you understand why. It is not a strong scent. It does not overwhelm. It simply lingers, like a kind thought, like a gentle hand on your forehead. Over the sheet, a heavy woolen blanket has been folded back, waiting for you. It is dark blue, the colour of the sky outside, the colour of deep water, the colour of the space between the stars. And when you run your hand across it, the wool is soft and dense and warm, and it makes a sound like the wind through tall grass. You set your cloak over the stool. You remove your sandals and feel the cool wooden floor beneath your bare feet, smooth and firm and grounding. You sit on the edge of the bed, and the mattress gives beneath you with a soft, welcoming sound, like a sigh of recognition, like it has been waiting for you, like it was made for exactly this, for someone to come in from the rain and the road and sit down, and finally let go. You lie down. The mattress receives you. The straw beneath the linen shifts and settles around your body, finding the shape of you, cradling you, supporting you in all the places where you need support. Your head sinks into the pillow, a cushion stuffed with soft wool and dried herbs that releases a faint, sweet fragrance as it compresses beneath the weight of your head. You pull the blanket up over your chest, and its weight settles across you like a warm hand laid gently on your heart, like someone is pressing, very softly, very kindly. Be still, be calm, you're safe here, you are held. The oil lamp flickers gently on the bedside table. Its flame is small and steady, no bigger than the tip of your finger, but it casts enough light to warm the room. The shadows it creates on the walls are soft and slow-moving, like shapes drifting through deep water. They are not frightening, they are companions. They move when the flame moves. When the flame is still, they are still, and there is something deeply peaceful about that, about sharing a room with light and shadow, about watching them breathe together. You turn your head on the pillow and look toward the window. Through the narrow gap in the shutters, you can see the night sky, a deep, soft blue, the colour of the sea at the hour when the last light leaves the water. The rain falls past the opening in delicate silver threads, catching the faintest light from somewhere unseen. Each drop is a tiny line of brightness against the dark, appearing and disappearing in an instant, like thoughts that come and go without needing to be held. You watch the rain for a while. You do not count the drops. You do not try to follow any single one from sky to sill. You simply watch the pattern of them, the endless gentle falling, and your eyes grow soft and unfocused, and the drops begin to blur together, and the whole window becomes a shimmering curtain of silver and blue, and you are no longer watching the rain so much as the rain is watching over you. The sounds of the inn settle around you like a blanket over a blanket. Below, the fire in the hearth continues to crackle, muffled now by the floor and the ceiling between you, reduced to a soft, rhythmic popping that sounds almost like someone whispering, someone washing pottery in the kitchen, the gentle splash of water, a door closing somewhere, softly. These are the sounds of the world going on without you, quietly, kindly, not needing anything from you at all. And the rain on the roof, always the rain. It falls just above your head with a sound like the softest drumming in the world, like fingers brushing lightly across silk, like a lullaby played on an instrument made of sky and water and clay tile and ancient Italian earth. It is the oldest sound in the world, older than language, older than music, older than Rome. It was falling before the first stone was laid on the Appian Way, before anyone thought to give the rain a name, and it will go on falling long after tonight has faded into memory, long after the inn and the road and the city and the empire have all been gathered back into the earth from which they came. Your eyelids grow heavy. The lamp on the bedside table flickers, dims, the flame shrinking to a tiny blue ember at the tip of the wick, and the shadows in the room deepen and soften, as though the darkness itself is growing more gentle, more kind, more welcoming, as though the darkness is not the absence of light, but rather a different kind of light, a quieter kind, a deeper kind, the kind that holds you when the fire goes out and says, I am here too. I will watch over you too. I have been here since the beginning, the EOY year.
You breathe in the scent of lavender from the pillow, the faint trace of wood smoke from the fire below, the clean, cool freshness of the rain coming through the window. You breathe out, and with that breath, you release everything. The road behind you, the city behind that, the faces and the voices and the small worries of the day. They lift away from you now. They drift off into the rain, and the rain carries them away, gently, softly, dissolving them into the night as though they were never there at all. The sounds of Rome grow distant now. The road that carried you here is quiet. The great basalt stones are resting beneath the rain as they have rested for 300 years, as they will rest for 300 more. The cypress trees stand motionless in the dark, their roots deep in the earth, their tips reaching toward the sky, patient and enduring and still. The inn is warm around you. The fire below is burning low, its embers glowing red and gold. The innkeeper has closed the shutters and latched the door, and the world outside is given over to the rain and the night. And you are here, in this small, quiet room, under this heavy, warm blanket, on this soft bed, with the rain falling on the roof above you like a song that has no words and needs no words, a song that means only rest now, rest now. The night wraps around you like a warm cloak. The lamplight fades, and the rain, the gentle rain, continues to fall, softly, softly, softly.